Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the Tier 7 US aircraft carrier, the Saipan, or Saipan? I don't know which it is. Please correct me in the comments. So I am against Ranger, and I find that I actually like the Saipan a lot more than I initially thought. I had played the ship like once or twice before, but it turns out that once I started playing it on the NA server, I seem to enjoy it a lot more, and this kind of brings me back to liking carriers a little bit. I think one of the reasons why it is so is because you have the 2-2-0 loadout, so two fighters and two torpedo bombers, which reminds me of what the old Lexington loadout was when I started playing carriers. And in my opinion, that was the most enjoyable time I had playing carriers, because they didn't seem as powerful as the ones we saw later with the Japanese ones, etc. However, they were still strong, and so I find this to be quite fun. Also, this Chores is gonna have a bad time. Goodbye! And there's the enemy Ranger fighter. I think it's alright to... Okay, I guess I can't really strafe him because he's way too close. I'll just... Maybe I should just, like, lock him. Anyways, essentially, I did my strike. I don't need to really, touch his fighters right now. What I want to do is I want to keep my fighters around to try to defend his strike, because he doesn't appear to be air superiority, which means he has a torpedo bomber and a dive bomber somewhere. So, okay, I found the torpedo bomber, so I figured that that's where the dive bomber is too. I bring my fighters in that direction, and I will try to ward off his strike while launching my fighters again. Sorry, torpedo bombers again. So, I can't really go in the same place I did earlier with my torpedo bombers because the fighters are in that direction, but I should be able to go on this side that has the enemy... that has my fighters. I'll try strafing his torpedo bombers. He doesn't appear to be paying that much attention, and this is goodbye, torpedo bombers. Very good. I probably saved my team from a whole bunch of damage, and I seem to need to actually move away from my current position because the enemy fighters are spotting me and the battleship is firing at me. Which is a very scary situation actually, because that might very easily just delete me. So, this Arizona is the next target. By the way, one of the things that you can do with this 2-2-0 loadout on the Saipan is to try to get the flooding, and then try to get another flooding. I'll try doing a drop, but I think I just screwed that drop up because, like I said, I haven't played this much, and yeah, I only had one torpedo, and unfortunately that meant no flooding. So the enemy carrier seemed to actually come in with a strafe, but he kind of screwed that one up, so... He didn't really get anything out of it, and I managed to get the strafe of my own. That was fairly successful, although the lock that happened after seems to actually have taken out two of my fighters. This is really problematic. So I bring out over my other fighter, and wow, my squadron actually got completely taken out. That's very surprising. But I did get my strike on the Arizona, so it should be alright. So continuing on, so even if I, exclude all the strengths of the Saipan, I think that the fact that it has 2-2-0 would make me find this ship to be very fun, because when you play something like a Japanese aircraft carrier, there are too many squadrons. The UI does not lend itself well to controlling all that many squadrons. Even, 6 is too much in my opinion. Like 5 is pretty much the sweet spot. Maybe 6 is fine, I suppose. But anything more than that, the UI just is not good enough in my opinion. And I don't think it will ever be, even after the rework, because they probably won't account for things like making control groups like you would in an RTS or similar. And I think because of that, it'll never be as good as you would want it to be. Right now I was waiting until my all torpedo bombers landed, and then I started launching the next fighters. So basically I think that because of that, she's already fun. Now you have a bunch of advantages. You see, your squadrons are really small, however you get tier 9 planes. Why is this important or very useful? You see, when you have very, very small squadrons, your planes have good concealment. They won't be spotted from as far away as, normal planes, because plane detectability seems to depend on the number of planes in the squadron. The same goes for the time it takes to recharge the planes, like how long they take on the ship. And on top of that, there is also the fact that your planes are tier 9, so they are faster than the enemies, which means that you can always decide not to fight the enemies and just fly away, which you'll see later that I'll do against this ranger. Okay, so I did get the strike on this Bayern, although I could have sworn that this was a Nagato. I don't know how I made that mistake. It is what it is though. And I got the flooding earlier, and I'll try to get another flooding now. Unfortunately, it did mean I messed up on that dive bomber squadron, but that's alright. Okay, so that Byron should be flooding now, which is going to be very, very useful. And I suppose I'm just going to wait until the next enemy planes come around. Oh, another thing that the Saipan is very good at is strafing. The fighters have so much ammunition, you can just strafe, and strafe some more. And honestly, I don't know if the Saipan is actually too strong, because I haven't really played enough games. I think that in the past it might have been. Right now I'm not so certain, because dogfighting expert is a tier 1 skill now, and I mean, against a ranger I would definitely give the advantage to the Saipan. But against a Hiryu, maybe not so much, because those 6 plane squadrons, 222, deal a lot of damage, because you have a lot of opportunity to cause damage over time effects, and those fighters are still fairly good. Okay, so I'm going to engage the enemy fighters now. He's chasing one of my fighter squadrons, and I try to strafe him, but he turns away, which is actually fairly smart. But I suppose I can just, lock him and fight him, because it'll be both of my squadrons plus an Indianapolis anti-air, so I think that should be good enough. Time to select the next target. I think I'll try striking that Arizona, or maybe the battleship behind the Arizona. Okay, this is going all right. I mean, it is in friendly anti-air, so it should be going. I should be winning really hard, and I am. Okay, the Arizona is actually fairly low HP. Maybe it's not the best idea to even try to strike the Arizona. Maybe it'll be better to try to strike the Scharnhorst behind her. I don't know, I mean, I don't really like being in a lot of anti-air, because while these planes are very sturdy, there are only 3 planes per squadron, so losing one is 1/3 of the squadron. Maybe it's better if I just try to strike with both of them and say, oh my god. And these float planes too. I suppose I do need to pull back again and wait until they do something. Maybe striking the Arizona would have been a good idea after all. I don't know. Oh well. My fighters are up in the air again to try to... well, I suppose I can't really catch the enemy strike in there. I'll try striking the Scharnhorst, I think. Or maybe the Arizona. Arizona would be a bit of a waste though, so let's go for the Scharnhorst, because the Arizona is just low, and the Scharnhorst, perfectly turns for this as well, which is very, very useful for me. And now, let's go back. By the way, one of the things you can do is, when you do a strike with your torpedo bombers, while the strike is going on, click somewhere else and then hold down Shift key and press F. Because what you see when planes normally do a strike, they do this flyover of the ship and then turn around and fly back. But if you manually tell them to give them another move command before they start the turnaround back, they will immediately turn around in a faster manner, and you lose less planes because planes are less inside the enemy anti-air. And that is very, very useful. So I do think that I actually made a mistake. I should have used one squadron to kill the Arizona, because that guy is still alive and they are facing off this Alba. It would have definitely helped this Alba. Feel kinda guilty, but it's alright I suppose, because we'll still win. Question is just, how hard we're gonna win. Although winning less hard is better, because you get to do more, so you get more experience. Okay, I'm not quite certain what to do with my fighters. I just want them to be spread out for two reasons. One, because they still have a destroyer, so if my planes are flying around randomly, they might spot torpedoes or the destroyer or, anything like that. The other reason is that I want to catch glimpses of the enemy. Damn, this was a failure. I want to catch glimpses of where the enemy planes are. Okay, so now you'll see something. I mentioned that my planes are faster, so I can always run away, right? I was thinking of bringing my other fighter squadron and then fighting this one squadron, but then decided, nah, let's not do that. And now my plan is to take this one squadron and try to defend against enemy strike, the enemy ranger strike, while flying my initial squadron away. You see, my planes are faster, so I can do that. Because if the planes were both as fast, the one that's chasing would always start catching up. However, because I am faster, I can just, turn around and fly away and all that stuff. So I set the strafe while the torpedo bombers were going in. I don't know if that's going to, actually hit, but I'll try to strafe as much as I could. Now it's time to do a strike on the Scharnhorst. Honestly, the reason why I like this 2-0 is because Japanese ones have too many squadrons, and the problem with US ones is that they are too reliant on dive bombers. Okay, so now my plan is to bring this one fighter squadron to my anti-air, my ship's anti-air. By the way, the Saipan's anti-air is actually fairly short range. It's like 3.5 kilometers without AFT. And now I can just lock the enemy fighters, and my anti-air will definitely pick these off with the entire squadron. Okay, so the enemy only has 4 ships left. I guess I have a fairly good idea where the destroyer is. And we can actually see the enemy ranger. He is surprisingly far ahead. But then again, as a ranger, you do have to take quite many risks. Still, I don't recommend a ranger. If you're going to play carrier, play Hiryu or Saipan. If you're gonna play tier 7 carrier. If you're planning on trying to get past, then yeah, sure, I suppose you do have to get past the ranger and eventually get the midway to get to the midway. But even the midway isn't, in my opinion, as good as the Hakuryu. Like, she's alright in fighting strength, but the fact is that your plane recharge just takes such a long time that it's not as nice. And dive bombers are inherently RNG, so it's also not as fun. So now I'll just try to guard these ships that are inside our cap zone and the enemy cap zone, and well, try to strike the enemy ranger, I suppose. Okay, I did get the dive bomber strafe done, and now it's time to do a torpedo bomber strafe. Okay. Oh wow, is he gonna drop like this? Yeah, I suppose dropping the way he did was actually a good idea, because it was clear that he wasn't going to be able to do a proper drop, and well, that's goodbye for the ranger. I think even if you excluded the fact that I was going to strafe him, just the fact that he was afraid of being shot down by the Scharnhorst was a big deal. So I'll try using my fighters to spot the destroyer and try doing a drop on this Myoko. You see, the Myoko is actually getting close to the map edge and actually dropping. They never fixed dropping on the map edge. They only discouraged people from going closer. You can't put the you can't put it closer than that. So I'll just try doing like a random drop with one squadron, and because the second one failed, I'll bring this closer to the side, because you can do a better drop from the side. Still though, it'll be problematic, because it'll still be far away and all that stuff, so it's not the greatest. And well, the enemy Mahan also died, but one of these tarps should hit. Okay, well, it did something, and this should be good game. Excellent. So, Saipan. It's a fun ship. I really like the loadout. And at tier 7, it's definitely one of the more powerful ones. If you play ranked and want the carrier, I think this is the ship. 6,000 experience, first blood, devastating strike, high caliber, 159,000 damage, 20 torpedo hits, 31 plane shutdown, 2004 base experience. This is a very strong result. Now, I don't know if the Saipan has a higher internal experience multiplier than other carriers, but as a carrier, that seems like a very, very strong result. Then again, I did deal a lot of damage and shot down a lot of planes, and honestly, plane kills give a lot of experience nowadays. Well, 300,000 credits profit, 9,000 captain experience. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, then like it. If not, then I suppose dislike it. And I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for a new Patreon, Leops1984. And I hope I see you guys next time.